Hey guys, Lizardlea here for Christmas Minnie's white teddy bear. I guess that's what I'm gonna call it. There are a lot of bears, so I don't know what to call them. Where did I put it? I don't think... Yeah, it's not one of the completed ones. So it's a cute little white teddy bear. It's really cute. And I'm planning on putting it here. So, gonna go cross stitch now.
Alright, so David decided to watch War Games without me the other day, and I freaking love that movie. And are you eating my sushi? I will stab you! First you watch War Games without me, then you eat my sushi? Where is the love, handsome man?
I will buy you more sushi and I got you cake.
Is the love?
I got you cake.
But I bought myself sushi, and my sushi was more expensive than the cake.
No, it was not.
Yeah, it was.
Not 2 pieces.
I got 2 things of sushi.
Yes, but no, not even those 2, in fact. I'll bet you money that the cake pieces cost more
Okay, yes,
than
the
sushi.
caramelized is like $6.
Yeah.
A slice. Yes.
It was not when I ordered it.
Okay, well, Grubhub is usually more expensive than the actual menu.
I got 5 slices.
Yeah, okay, 3 of those were yours. You only get to count 2 of them towards me, handsome man.
Yeah, it wasn't $6 a slice, I can tell you that.
Alright, you watched War Games without me. So,
Yes.
I watched this movie for the first time in, like, middle school, high school, I want to say. And I freaking loved it. Do you want to play a game? I love that movie. But I also haven't seen it in years because, again, handsome man watched it without me. So, your thoughts, sir?
It's a good movie, the end. No,
I will stab you.
You've mentioned
And then
that.
I will eat the cake over your corpse.
So you're glad I got you cake, see?
I do like cake, it's true.
Um,
Call me cake. Cake is great.
It's interesting because it's obviously old, dirt, but, like...
It's obviously old. Yeah, you mean the freaking use of floppy disks didn't give it away?
Okay, so she doesn't even get how funny that is,
Yeah.
because...
I'm not an idiot. Yes.
Okay, what size floppy disks are those?
It was gigantic. The
Yes.
ones I grew up with were the
8-inch floppies.
8-inch ones.
Yeah.
But this, he uses...
The
movie's from like the 80s or something, I think.
Yeah.
It's old. It's older than me.
Yes.
And I still freaking love it.
Yeah, and my point is that sort of like 1984, and so it's from 83.
There we go. See? 80s. I was right.
So sort of like 1984 and a bunch of other things, it does a really good job at sort of understanding what the issues are. I know of the movie, even though I'd never seen it, from 2 simple things. One, God, what was it? I totally blanked. Oh, well, the other one is a game called DEF CON, that came out, I don't know, like maybe 10, 15 years ago, which was basically playing the game that...
Thermonuclear warfare?
Yes, like literally
No.
Thermonuclear warfare.
That's what it was, yep.
Nailed it, babe.
You didn't have it either.
Yep. So it's playing that game, literally. Like you set up where your nuclear silos are, and then, DEF CON advances slowly throughout the game, and as more DEF CON levels drop, the more stuff you can use, and so you start out scouting with planes and whatnot, and moving your subs into position, and then by the end of it, you're just nuking everything and seeing who survives. Like if you can take out their silos before they take out yours, and high scores based on casualty rate. It's really dark. Oh, side note, I feel like mentioning that before this started, I rattled off the list of things that we have watched and yet to discuss, and you, said, what was it? I'm talking about a cute teddy bear.
No, I said, I'm stitching a cute little white teddy bear.
Yeah. And this was the least dark thing on the list. The game about, potential nuclear annihilation. So,
well, yeah, because it's a game, but...
Yeah, but it's not a game. Kind of like Ender's Game. Spoilers, I suppose.
Not exactly, because it is ultimately just a game. But people don't think it's a game.
Well, yes.
Versus Ender's Game is the opposite. They think it's a game, and it's not a game.
Yeah. So...
Which, by the way, I called the twists on both of those. Woo!
Yeah. So War Games is obviously very, very... Oh, I know the apocryphal story of supposedly Ronald Reagan watched this movie. I think it was Reagan. Yeah, it should be Reagan. I was like, oh, that was good. And then asked, like, so, could that happen? Like, the whole idea of, like, someone hacking in using the phone to NORAD and, like, causing a nuclear war. And his security, like, laughed and said, we'll look into it. And then the answers were apparently very concerning and things were changed shortly thereafterwards. I have no idea how true that is, but it's a good story. And frankly, having worked with people in tech, I can totally believe it. So yeah, the floppy is huge, which was the main point here, because I knew it was going to be old tech. I didn't realize it was going to be that old. I was expecting the smaller floppies, or even maybe the plastic thicker floppies, rather than those old record-sized floppy disks. And it's, you know, pertinent. It understands very, very well that some of the biggest dangers of all this technology stuff is that it doesn't have context. There have been so many well-written short stories and full stories and movie shows, games, that are basically about an AI that doesn't understand something, and it's about to kill everybody. And this is one of the better versions of that story I've seen, especially considering it has a happy ending.
Yes.
Could have easily gone for the Dr. Strangelove approach, but they wussed out.
No, that was a good movie. It can keep its ending.
Yes, well, yeah. So, that says it's still very much an 80s movie. Like, hey, I'm gonna seduce this girl by hacking our grades is, I'm suspecting something that's never happened in the history of the Earth. But
I mean, if I somehow managed to get below an A and someone suddenly got me an A, no, actually, I would probably slap them. Like, I only get A's if I deserve
it's like,
them.
wow, you're that easy, huh?
No, I would be really upset with them.
Needed to change
I'd be like,
grades.
change all of your grades back to what they were.
That's
You're
what
a
she
piece
said
of
at
crap.
first.
What? Oh, that's what
She
the
chickened
character
out
said.
at first, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did it anyways, and then she came back and he's like, I already did it.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like this ties back into just who I am as a person. That riddle about
baseball.
Yes.
He's going.
I mean, now that you've given it away, no one will have the opportunity to guess it.
We can do it another time, I guess.
Well, no, it's too obvious now. Unless I stop it and rewind it.
Well, no, we can just wait a few videos. They'll never know if we bring up a riddle what it's related to, unless they already know the riddle.
No, that's
right?
not
We
how
can
it
never
works.
do it ever in the history of the Earth.
Just say the riddle.
A masked man is preventing another man from going home. Why?
So, I eventually got out from David that the masked man, or no, actually the man that's being prevented from going home is on the clock.
Yes.
And I was like, why is he trying to go home on the clock? He is a piece of crap. That is not acceptable. And I was like, is there an emergency? And David was like, no. And I was like, are you sure there is not an emergency? No.
Full manager.
Why is he trying to go home while he's on the clock? This is ridiculous, and I don't approve. And eventually, it took me
a while.
A couple days, or was it a few hours?
I thought we did it that night.
Was it?
It was that night.
Did I get it that day?
Yeah.
I don't know. It took me hours.
You're allowed to ask only yes or no questions about the situation.
And I focused so hard on the fact that he was trying to go home while he was on the job, and I thought it was ridiculous because there was no emergency. And eventually I was like, it's baseball. And I was like, he's getting paid to go to home base. Yes.
Yes, dude. It's his job.
So we frequently go back to just Liz being like, why is he trying to go home on the clock? And I will say, you guys, I was a nice manager. Anytime someone was sick or had a family emergency, I was like, get out of my store. Like, clock out and go home. I don't care. If anybody above me tries to give you grief, send them to me. It never happened because I do my job. But I would let people do that. If something came up, I would let them leave. But if someone was trying to just go home for fun, that would not have been okay. So
yeah,
that's the kind of manager that I am.
So anyways, the movie's pretty good. It's got some weirdness in it. Like, the romance feels pretty weird, and the girl in general feels kind of just shoved in there because they're like, well, we need a romance. Like, okay. She doesn't often... I guess she's got one or two scenes, but often she's got some really weird decision-making, I think, just to further the plot, so whatever. The core concept is pretty cool. It's a little lame that they have to go the 80s route of like, oh yeah, we stopped it. Oh wait, the computer's still going. Like, it works, but just the way they do it feels like they showed off the coolest thing about the movie in the first 15 minutes and then kind of had to build back up to doing it again. With a lot of the usual, like, oh, I'm going to be biblically stupid because I have to be for this plot to continue. Rather, miscommunication, can't listen to the right person, don't believe the right person, all sorts of stuff like that. It is still decently well presented. Like, for example, every person involved, with maybe one exception, which I'll get to, seems like a reasonable person. You can sort of understand where they're coming from. Like, the general who doesn't want the technology is not just a complete lunatic or a jerk. The guy who's pushing the technology is not a complete lunatic or a jerk. No one's just, like, I feel like if they did this movie now, they'd have at least one of them be an absolutely unlikable human being in every direction just to justify that's the bad guy, root against them, when it's not really the point. Oh, the opening scene is brilliant. I forgot all about that, but the opening scene is excellent because it's a test of the nuclear protocols, and they're supposed to go. The humans are supposed to launch the missiles. And
is that them with the keys?
Yeah, yes. And one of them freaks out and won't do it, even though he's got a gun pointed at his head. And I thought that was really, really well done. The other thing, though, that stuck out to me is like, okay, we've got to go find Falkland after we've escaped from DEF CON on my own due to my elite hacker skills. Which, fine, whatever, it's a movie, I get it. They find this guy living on an island, and he's missed the ferry, and, of course, he's some nihilist frickin' given up on humanity. The dinosaurs were all extinct, it's time for humanity to go too. Like, it feels so silly that he is that kind of person. It feels like they're just stretching for time at that point because he's going to get involved. Like, even if it felt so unbelievable that, oh my god, sir, the AI you created, it's playing a game and it's about to cause global nuclear war and we need to go save everybody. Let me show you a slideshow about dinosaurs.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and it was just like, really, this is what we're doing? Don't worry, kids, I live 3 miles from a primary target. We'll all be gone in a blinding flash. Like, wow.
I mean, I will say...
Isn't it a cute bear stitching list?
Yeah, I know, it's adorable. Under that kind of assumption, yeah, I'd rather be in the place that gets nuked instantaneously rather than one that has to slowly deteriorate.
Either way, point is, I was trying to keep this a more positive chat to match the cute bear, but...
Well, we already chose war games. That's not happening.
Yeah. So either way, naturally he helps them because he has an on-site helicopter, as one would. I suppose. I think it was his. I'm pretty sure it was his. I don't know. I was kind of like, what's going on at this point? Hurry up and get past the nihilism. And then they all go back and save the day. It was kind of interesting that there's like 2 save the day moments. There's save the day moment number 1. And then there's save the day moment number 2 where, oops, the AI's locked us all out and it's just brute forcing the password. And so we're going to force it to play tic-tac-toe until it realizes that everything's futile.
Yep.
And you can't ever win because tic-tac-toe is unwinnable.
If you know how to play it.
Yeah, well, the computer figured out how to play it pretty quick. So, and I love that they're like, well, it has to be in there. Like, no, it doesn't. Maybe he didn't bother to program tic-tac-toe. Maybe you're all dead now, but whatever. It was good. It's really, really good. And it really, again, does a nice abstraction of, like, the problems with technology and removing the human element and all that. And it doesn't need to be thermonuclear warfare to see how things can get missed in the cracks due to, like, obvious assumptions or mistakes that wind up escalating incredibly quickly or just continuously without being noticed. I have mild mistakes like that at my job all the time, where it's like, oh, this has been working really well. It succeeded every day. Oh, it succeeded every day because it's not doing anything other than claiming it succeeded. That was a fun one. Thankfully, that didn't affect anything, but, like, I'm working on loading data for a side project into a database. I'm not trying to do super serious missile defense stuff, and before someone goes, well, obviously the military, well, one, if you've ever interacted with the military tech people, it gets a little, or not the tech people, but the tech that they create or the tech that they show, if it's designed to blow up somebody within 3 inches away from, a point that they pick, it's phenomenal. If it's designed to allow a human user to interface with it, it's trash. I've seen some of the Air Force's stuff, and the most notable example was the wonderful user interface that triggered the Hawaii missile warning that happened 1 or 2 years ago. Did you hear about that?
No.
Every single person in Hawaii got a message on their phone saying a missile attack had been detected and to seek shelter. You didn't hear about this?
I don't recall. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that was huge. That was a big, at least it was huge in the circles I traveled.
I don't know. We were together 2 years ago.
Maybe it was older than that. God, when was that? Hawaii missile attack. Or a missile alert would be, there we go. Hawaii. 2018, yeah, okay, 2 years ago. So just around then. It was a big deal. Because obviously a bunch of people were legitimately terrified, as they should be, because there was no indication that it was a warning, because it wasn't, or a training exercise or anything, because it wasn't. And as it came out, the user interface to, do this is, a couple of really long text string hyperlinks on a website. It's super easy to see how somebody could have accidentally clicked the wrong thing, which they did. Mm-hmm. So, in that light, stuff like War Games is believable. Yeah, very, very concernably believable, because someone thinks something's not important until it goes wrong. And when you're dealing with something so dangerous or serious, you cannot have that kind of mentality. Really good movie. I can see why it's so famous and relevant. It could be better, but it's an 80s movie, and it's an 80s movie. I'm not exactly sure I'd say for kids, but a feel-good, I guess, in the end. That's the whole point, is it's supposed to be happy and air quotes, lighthearted nuclear war movie. Like Dr. Strangelove.
How about a nice game of chess instead?
Yeah, let's play chess.
Joshua was adorable.
Of course he was. You would think that.
I mean, he just wanted to play a game of chess, all right? And the kid was pressuring him to play global thermonuclear warfare.
Yes.
And he just wanted to play a game of chess.
Yeah.
Poor Joshua.
It was neat to see that they actually did some legitimate, stuff with the tech there. It has a better representation of how hacking works than 90% of movies.
Was it as good as Mr. Robot?
I mean, technically, yes, it was accurate to what was going on at the time. Especially back then, because people didn't know, nobody really knew that this was even possible or going on. So it was a lot more ad hoc, well, of course there's a back door, because everyone makes back doors. There's no standards. Nobody audits us. Especially from that era, there's all sorts of stories around, what he did was called war dialing, where you just go, here's the possible area codes, go dial every single number until you find a connection, and then I'm going to start screwing with the connections, seeing what I can do, and then once I have again, very realistic that most of the hacking was information gathering outside of a computer, him going to the library. Yeah,
he got the password from the teacher or whatever.
Well, no, kind of, but mostly, he, got the password from, looking up at stuff in the library and looking around, 90% of it is just, there's a fancy term for it, but just information gathering. I really liked it.
It's a good movie. Should have watched it with me, boy.
I love you, dear.
I love you more.
Do you, though?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
Yes.
Sounds hostile.
You're wrong.
And that is the end of Christmas Minis White Bear. Is that what I called it before?
I do not remember.
I remember you laughing at me. That's all that I remember.
I do also remember that.
So it took me 2 hours and 42 minutes. If it'll focus.
It might.
If it'll focus.
It does not believe
It really hates focusing. It drives me bonkers. I don't know why it does that. Why are you still focused on me? I'm not even there anymore. Focus on this. Focus on this. Oh, there we go. So, it's cute, but I don't really like the dark color around his muzzle. But I don't know what other color to outline it in. Because otherwise it might be hard to see, and then it doesn't you know, give the snout effect. I don't know.
The snout effect?
No. So, yeah. I might change it. I might change it. I might not. We'll see. It's cute though, so that's it's important. Yeah. It is cute. I have nothing else to add, so like, subscribe, share, comment, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.